Welcome to another episode of the Empowerment Platform, where our goal is to simply empower you to meet your goals. Tonight, I have with me Tyler Campbell, who will share his awesome story. And we're going to talk a little bit about resiliency, overcoming adversity, and just really get to know Tyler on a more personal level and see how his story will help you overcome those strongholds or break through those things in your story. Tyler, how's it going?
Hey Tyrus, I'm doing good, baby. Listen, you being nice. You being nice. What you really mean to say is we about to get all up in his business and see if he's got something that can possibly help benefit somebody. That's what you meant to say.
I know you already got that down. So, family, if you out there, like and share this. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe. We want to get this out to as many people as possible because, the information shared on this podcast is just to help people, and it's to help
Man.
you, and it's to help people that you know. So, Tyler, let's get started at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you have MS. Tell us about when you were diagnosed, what that looked like, and just give us that intro into who you are in your life.
Hey, no doubt, man. Listen, I'm happy. It's always good when you do things with another Southerner, And so, for me, everything, I'm from the state of Texas. If you know anything about folks from Texas, we very prideful about it. I'm sure just like any other person from the South, but grew up there. Blessed to have like loving mother and father. I think everything starts in the home, and for me. I was blessed to have like both of my parents' homes. But not only were my parents there, they were present. It's a difference to have your presence, but to actually be present, and not just have just not just have presence. That meant a lot. Like my father would go out of his way to ensure that he was there for his children. You know what I'm saying? My dad's dad died on him very young, so it meant a lot for him to be there for his two children, and I think I definitely benefited from that. Everybody knows my father, obviously, for the football aspect of it, if you will. NFL Hall of Famer and Heisman Trophy winner, yada yada yada. Earl Campbell. But I think one of the best things about it growing up, Tyrus, bro, it's like, I don't know about you and what your upbringing was like, but I know like my pa did not want like that lifestyle entering into our household. You know what I'm saying? Like the rest of the world knew him as the football dude, but for us, it was imperative for him to just be a father, a husband, and to instill humility, to instill responsibility, to instill a somebodyness, like Dr. King used to always say, into his children.
Mhm.
So my grow up was normal in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like the rest of the world knew my father, but to me, it was like, yo, I learned about my dad, Tyrus, real talk, through my friend's parents.
Oh wow.
Like, like straight up. So y'all, like my last name Campbell, Tyrus. So as a kid growing up, rock with me. You know what I'm saying? You had your little thermoses and your sack lunches or whatever, right? And so I open up my pantry. You know what I'm saying? I see chicken noodle soup. I see chicken and stars, chicken and alphabets, raviolis, and they all made by Campbell's. Okay, they all made by Campbell's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that's what we do.
Mm.
We having all this Campbell stuff. My name's spelled the exact same way. I take this to all my thermos, my school. This is what we do. And I would see my father leave a lot growing up too. And he would always say, I'm starting something for you and the children. I mean, for y'all as children. And I didn't know he was an entrepreneur starting a smoked sausage company, Tyrus.
Oh wow.
I'm out here telling people that we sell chicken and stars. We Campbell Soup Company. We Campbell Soup Company. That's thermos you got? Yo, we make that. Nah, bro, we sell sausages. So I was actually introduced to an entrepreneur in my own family. My mother had her own clothing store, so I come from a line of two entrepreneurs. So I was able to see a black male start his own business. On
Mm-hmm.
top of that, I was able to see a black woman start her own clothing business, and to know that I could dream to like have a business lifestyle at a very early age. I saw that it was possible.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the mind-blowing things that most people would think about me growing up, bruh, it was more my parents were going out of their way to show somebody how to start a business. Does that make sense? That's what a lot of our conversations were about over the dinner table. how to how to how to try to start something for yourself, which is big for our culture and big for our people.
Yep, economic empowerment. You learned it at an early age.
At an early age, I thought it was Campbell soup. Now I ain't gonna lie, thought it was Campbell soup tires, but that wasn't it. So but like any kid in Texas, I started out. I played football.
Mhm.
Tyrus, you know what I'm saying? 7th grade, that's when the middle schools here let you play ball. Out here in the state of Texas, if you don't, Tyrus, if you don't like football, you gonna like try it at least once.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? And just let the chips fall where they may, because that's just the culture here. So my brother was very athletic, received a football scholarship to South Carolina. My dad was very athletic. I come from an athletic family. I didn't get the athleticism. Okay. So this is where we get into the meat of it. I learned very early at the age of 12, going out for the 7th grade football team, that you don't just arrive and become successful at something.
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You know how you have that come to reality moment. For me, it was at 12, and I thought just because my last name, or I thought just because that's what we do in our family, that I
Mhm.
naturally would be able to pick it up, and that's not the case. We see it in business. We see people from athletes who come to business. We see their products fall, and it's because, yeah, you were good at sports, but starting a brand and building a product, that's totally different than what you do on the gridiron or on the court or wherever you are. And that was the reality that I was having. But it was a priceless moment, because right then and there, the good Lord was giving me an introduction that life was going to be somewhat of a challenge.
Mhm.
Life was going to be somewhat different from the rest of the other members of my family. And I was going to experience adversity whenever I wanted out of life. I was going to have to work at it at a different pace than my brother did in his life. So I sucked at football, Tyrus. But tired of being the laughing stock on the football team. I put in the work behind the scenes. And my sophomore year, I was always a year younger than everybody. So when you're a sophomore in high school, you like 15 turning 16. I was 14 turning 15. I ended up making the varsity football team at Westlake High School. Westlake High School is a very prominent high school for football, right? Um, heck, Drew Brees went to my high school, Nick Foles, like all these great people. I make varsity as a sophomore, and by the time I look up as a junior, I am the number 2 running back in the entire state of Texas behind Adrian Peterson. He was number 1, and I was number 2.
Wow.
And so for me, it was like that hard work was starting to, like, I was seeing like, okay, if you really work at something in life, like if you really do, there's that reality that you can have what you dream. All
Mm.
right. That was powerful for me. And that could translate over into the classroom, that translated over into relationships. It translated over into just life. What you get out of it is what you put into it. We all know those slogans, right?
Right.
So um I was seeing that.
So at that time when you were that age and you realized that, hey, I don't have the natural, just straight, I'm not going to just step on the field and be the man. What do
Hmm.
you think that at that age, because when we talk about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, the fixed mindset
Hmm.
would have said, you know what, I'm not good at this, I'm going to quit.
Quit.
At such a young age, where did you get the growth mindset to say, hey, I may not be the best now, but if I work hard, I can get up there? Where did that come from?
It's very simple, bro. I think as I started to look more into my family history.
Okay.
Um, you know what I'm saying? I started to look at the men in my family. I started to understand that, my grandfather was present with the Black Army Air Corps on D-Day. So that meant psychologically, my grandpa was a hero. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And no, they didn't have the finances growing up. They were sharecroppers. I mean, my dad had 10 other brothers and sisters. My mom came from humble beginnings as well, but was able to get a nursing degree. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it's not where you start. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta get started. Like Coach Kendall be talking about that all the time. Like just get started. And that's what I started to see. Okay, I got started playing ball. No, I don't like the results, but if I do this, I can get this. And if it doesn't come immediately, that's okay, because I'm better than what I started at. And I learned to kind of be my biggest cheerleader. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, I'm Earl Campbell's son. And at that point, I was not good. So there was a lot of ridicule and
Yeah.
spotlight because I was not measuring up to what everybody thought the standard would be
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 12.
Yeah.
You feel me?
You had more.
At the age, let's just be real, call a spade a spade. At the age of 12, the first time my brother picked up a football, he scored a touchdown. His sophomore year, he was second in the state in the 200. Okay. So I come from that pedigree,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I also love the fact that I was working while you were sleeping.
Yeah.
Like I love the fact I think I kind of fell in love with the process of me like knowing that I was doing something that my teammates may not have been doing. Does that make sense?
That makes.
So I started to fall in love with the actual doings, the actual day-to-days getting better versus the result. That was actually more captivating than to me more than anything before a game even started. Could I run a little bit longer than I did yesterday? And if I did, I'm winning. I don't care what you say because I'm so terrible, Tyrus. I got to be my own cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it was valuable, and I just it helped me so much. Um, the emotional aspect of it, though, Tyrus, I wasn't ready for success. I think that's the other aspect of it that not too many people talk about
Mm-hmm.
is we say we want the house. Okay, cool. You want the car. You want the wife. You want the kids. You want to be over here. You want all those things. But I think what separates a lot of people, Tyrus, you can comment on this. Like, okay, when you get those things, who are you as a man or a woman?
Yep. Yep.
Does it change you? Do you forget what it took for you to get there? And most importantly, what I learned from my father is like, do you have the ability to sustain it?
Sustain it. Absolutely.
And business, as a father, husband, whatever it is, our yesterday is not our today. They're not the same. So what are you going to do to sustain? And that's kind of what I was falling in love with, the ability to sustain.
That's beautiful.
Um,
And to
you
your
know,
point, a lot of people, when they finally reach that goal, instead of loving the process, they love the thing. And then the
mm,
it's never
say
enough.
say say that again, Tyra. Say that again so people can hear that. Say that again, please.
Instead of loving the process, they love the thing, and the thing is never good enough. It's always okay. Now I'm on to the next thing. Now I'm on to the next thing, and it's unsustainable. And also,
I
there are
love that.
people who find their identity in chasing stuff. Who are
Say
you?
that, Tyrus.
And that's when you figure out, and that's when you hear those problems with people that say, for instance, since we're talking about football, I'm a football player, but what happens when you can't play football no more?
Say it, man.
Or I'm a
Say it,
business,
Tyrus.
and what happens when you can't do that anymore? Their identity
Right.
is wrapped up in what they're trying to achieve instead of their identity being within and loving just the process of hard work, dedication, resiliency, overcoming. They want the shine, the
Hey,
fame.
can I ask you something, Tyrus? Because I think, and this is what frustrates me. At times because I feel like as a culture we make things more complicated than they have to be. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of times people want an eloquent slogan or a statement. They want you to wrap a bow on it, make it real pretty and elegant. But I really feel like the life that we live, it wasn't meant to be all that complicated. I don't think we were created and designed for that within this world. I literally feel like um, we are blessed to live in a country with all its flaws, but you correct me if I'm wrong, Tyrus, but I don't know too many countries where you can literally go from the rose fields to a gated community, because of classisms and
Right.
just coming from the South, I don't know where you can go from working the fields and doing that to, oh, I could actually do that. And how did you do that? What books did you read? What, everybody's looking for that certain thing. When you're wasting your time looking for that, if you would just methodically get in a routine and a habit for yourself to purposefully live your life and go after what you want to go after.
Hmm.
And just forget about who you are, what you come from, what people in your family haven't done or have done. I feel like we block our own, I don't know, our own blessing type of in a certain way. I think we're our biggest enemies at times.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's just that I don't want to. We just don't see it that it's really simple.
Is that what it is? Is you gotta be able to put an eyesight or something tangible to it to keep you rolling?
Absolutely. We think that, and like you said, and actually you talking to me a little bit with that,
Okay,
because
I'm
we,
listening.
we both coming through the speaker, want to be speakers,
Yeah.
growing in.
Yes, sir.
Then we started look at ET, Coach
Oh
K,
yeah.
Coach Val,
Yeah.
and then I want my
Mm-hmm.
stuff to look like their stuff.
Right.
And now I can't even get my message out because I got to wrap it up to where it's a beautiful present. But then
I got you.
I'm failing to realize that, hey, somebody needs to hear my voice at where it's at right now.
Let's go.
It doesn't have
Let's
to
go.
be that vision that I'm trying to create to make it grand. The
Mm-hmm.
grand is for me. It's what I want. But for the person
It's
who
for you.
impact, they just need the message.
Hey, bro, I'll tell you what, and Tyrus was probably going, what you probably are getting is when you do deliver that message, you probably not feeling like it's all the way, as perfect or as the way that you want it. But I'm willing to bet, I'm a praying man, I'll put that out there. I'm willing to bet that whoever, there's somebody who's bought into your life who's going to take away from that message something that you never even thought about, something that you never even imagined, and came back to you and said, yo, that was a dope word. And you sitting in yourself saying cerebrally, like, yo, that's probably about maybe a good 75, maybe out of 100 of what I thought my performance was on this given stream call or whatever. And I think that's all we need. That's the start. That's everything that we're talking about. And you get the mini rewards along the way that just keep you dangling for that nugget, if you will.
Exactly.
Like that, you know what I'm saying? Because you're still trying to, if I'm 75 and somebody got out of my 75, then man, what can I be at 90?
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
that's probably what I think we all been there. You know what I'm saying? That's just
Mhm.
because we're comparing. But hey, like I said, I watched Jesse Owens the other day, man, and in the movie Race, and it's like, yo, just run your race,
Right.
TC.
No race. Yep.
And I'll be dang tired if my grandma didn't always say that when we was kids. Run your race. You always you worry about your cousin running your cousin. Just run the race. Run your own doggone race.
Right.
You know.
Stay in your lane.
Hey, Coach Val said that all the time. I remember hearing that one. Stay in your lane. I remember that one. Heck yeah, stay in your lane.
So Tyler, take us through now.
Yeah.
You were first diagnosed with MS.
Right. Let's hit it.
Explain that to us what it is, because
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest, I don't know everything about it. And for me, it's
Yeah.
like I hear different people have it and they have different
Mm-hmm.
symptoms. So kind of tell us and share with us about your MS, how it came about, when you learned
Yeah.
how it impacts your life, and then how do you overcome that?
Yeah. No doubt. See, and I think everything that I just walked you through was the setup for me to be able to handle the disease the way that I do. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people look at me with my MS and just say, oh my gosh, he handles it so flawlessly.
Mhm.
No, it's that starting from 12, I was presented with a lot of adversity in my life, and I got the understanding to know um, that if I can just wake up, there's the opportunity for me to defeat MS for the day. So I ended up getting a scholarship to San Diego State University,
Okay.
and by the blessings of the man up above. And one day after playing BYU, Brigham Young University,
Mhm.
a month after my 21st birthday, Tyrus, I woke up out of bed. I was absolutely normal. The following day after playing the football game, I was absolutely normal walking out of that football game. I woke up, and instead of rising to my feet like we do every morning, talk about taking things for granted. How many times do we take it for granted that you'll go to sleep and just wake up
Wow.
and be able to walk to the bathroom?
Wow.
Okay. How many times do we go to sleep and not and believe that we will naturally just wake up, move our legs to the floor,
Right.
and be able to stand? I woke up the next morning without warning and I fell flat on my face.
Mm.
Okay. I couldn't feel anything on my right side. If you've seen people who have had like a stroke and they're having trouble enunciating their words, and you can tell there's like a drop on a particular side of their face, lower than the other,
Mhm.
that was me. I tried to yell for help, and I couldn't. No words would come out, Tyrus. Like I was talking in my mouth, in my mind, I'm saying, help me," but I'm noticing that my tongue is out of my mouth, and I can't say words.
Wow.
So all I could do was yell, and I laid motionless on the floor. I had a roommate, and he came and got me. He was bigger than I was. He helped me to my feet, and we got rushed to La Jolla Scripps Memorial Hospital in California. And I never heard of multiple sclerosis before. I'm a black male, I'm African American. So, sickle cell anemia, high
Hmm.
blood pressure, diabetes,
Yep.
cancer, cholesterol, and heart disease. You know what I'm saying? I know those. I have a history of that in my family. But when I got a spinal tap, when they took that needle and jammed it into my spinal cord and extracted my spinal fluid and gave me MRIs and came in and said multiple sclerosis, I didn't know what that was, Tyrus. Okay. I never heard of that. That wasn't a part of my agenda and checklist as a black male in the United States of America. So, what multiple sclerosis is, ladies and gentlemen, is where there are lesions and plaques that are on your brain. And where these lesions and plaques are, those are the things that inhibit your brain or your spinal cord from sending messages to the rest of your body. Okay, so when you raise your hand, you do that because the left cortex of your brain sends a message to the right side of your body and says, I'm going to raise my hand. There are lesions and plaques over here on my left side of the brain, which is why my right side was completely numb. My brain was firing off the messages, but it wasn't getting to the rest of my body. My brain was firing off the messages to speak, but it wasn't coming to the rest of my body. Those are the symptoms of what happened with MS. There are different levels. Some people are confined by a wheelchair with this disease. There's constant pain. There are memory issues and brain fog issues. It can happen to you in the blink of an eye.
Hmm.
Um, my white blood cell count is a lot lower than most people because of the medications we take. So when we're talking about COVID and all these things taking place to give people a walk into my life, I'm more at risk for obviously catching the disease because of like a pre-existing condition that I have. My struggle with everything, Tyrus, was I was trying to find a black male who had the disease. All right. The first thing that usually happens when you are going through a go through, you want to be able to call somebody or look up somebody who can maybe speak a word of like, you can do this. The
Exactly.
only black male that I found, Tyrus, was Montel Williams. You know what I'm saying? I'm an 80s baby. So Montel Williams, the talk show host,
Yep.
he had multiple sclerosis.
Oh
But
wow.
Tyrus, I'm 21 years old and I'm in college. I can't pick up the phone and call Montel Williams. He ain't gonna sit here and tell me I'm okay.
Hmm.
Um, but because of everything I went through as a child with working through, I understood that my life is bigger than just me. And if I'm looking for somebody who has this disease and I can't find it, then I have to be that one for the next young black kid or the next athlete who
Hmm.
gets diagnosed. They need to know that they can. I made a commitment to get my education, T. Like I made a commitment to my mama that I would come back to Texas with my degree in business management. I made a commitment on a scholarship and a dotted line to my teammates, saying that I would give them my best at San Diego State University. So because of my background, because of a relentless work ethic, quitting was never an option. My father always told me, he's like, in life, son, if you never quit, you never lose. And the first lesson I learned as a child was like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, because we from the South. And the second one was a Campbell man never quits. So this MS whatever thing, I never quit, and I was the first person to ever play Division I college football with multiple sclerosis. And
Wow.
it wasn't about me though. That's where the hang up is. Like it wasn't about me. It was to give hope to somebody else because I had been in the position where I never found somebody who looked at me that could tell me it would be okay. All right. I never found them, Tyrus. And so I live my life every day with MS open book so that a young person or a person of color can find my story and say like, yo, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a death sentence with this disease. I don't play that. I don't buy that.
Wow. Wow. And pivoting, that is kind of, I guess, how you became the national MS ambassador.
Right. That's how I discovered public speaking. Tyrus is um all of that. Like my life shifted when I got MS. I knew the good Lord was kind of saying like, okay, that NFL dream you have is not really gonna happen.
Hmm.
So at that moment, my body was never the same. Like I played ball, but I was never the same. Um, I started to see like you're not gonna really play and be in the NFL. So at that point, I started becoming a better leader on my football team.
Okay.
I started having to learn how to, like, can you be so much in love with the process that you're willing to deny yourself to help your teammates? And what I meant by that was, Tyrus, I had to groom cats who were younger than me that played the same position. I taught them the playbook. I'd make sure they stayed out of trouble. I made sure they went to study hall, and they were the starter. So can you still be committed to something even though there's no reward for you?
Yep.
There's no pat on the back for you and what you're doing. So much so that you're actually having to help the person who is playing the position that you want to play,
Yeah.
or getting the job that you want to get the job. Like, they get the promotion, you help them do all the work, and then they get it, and you just like, but what about, can you still be committed to the organization? Can
Hmm.
you still be committed to the mission? And so I learned all that. I learned that I love speaking because I took a speech class. I waited to my senior year in college to take freshman speech because I had a phobia of speaking in front of people. That speech class gave me the opportunity to really speak and discover my gifts as a human being. I was able to get a lot of my emotions out in speech class.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was easier to me to give a speech, Tyrus, than playing football. It was more natural to me. I felt more free when I was speaking. And so when I got a phone call after graduating to be a national ambassador for the MS Society, I didn't think it was a big deal to play football with MS. I just had a model of not quitting. I didn't know for the MS community that was like a big, huge, monumental thing. And they said, you know, can you accept the honor of being an ambassador? I was like, cool, what do I have to do? They're like, man, just keep serving the way that you're serving and give a speech. And I was like, okay, cool. And they were like, we have a teleprompter for you. And I was like, I don't need a teleprompter. They were like, it's gonna be 800, 750 people here. You don't want a teleprompter? I said, no, because what I have to give you, it's from my heart.
It's
If
you.
you give me a Yeah, if you give me a teleprompter, I'm gonna sound like Mushmouth from Fat Albert. I'm gonna be like there, like hum, 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 hum. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be natural. And when I gave that speech to you, I was like, yo, this is just like speech class. I'm having fun here.
Mhm.
Um, but I never knew you could get paid for speaking. So I started speaking across the country for the MS Society and pharmaceutical companies that made my medications. You know what I'm saying? I was 24 years old. I didn't know people got paid for speaking. I didn't know the business of
Yeah.
speaking.
Yep.
I just knew the business of service and really just having a heart for people who had MS. I
Wow.
didn't know anything about the business aspect of it.
See, that goes all the way back to what we were talking about in the beginning. You never had that shiny object that you were chasing. You were about
Mm-mm.
service. Everything else was added to you for service.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Hey, T, you remember it, bro. You was at Game Changers. It was I literally at 24, I knew that I have this quote unquote gift. You
Mhm.
know, that thing that you do that's very natural for you. Like, you're very comfortable in whatever that thing is for you. And then the purpose is that divine calling. And so serving, for me, I love more giving than I do receiving. I'm
Mhm.
the most awkward person to receive a gift. It drives my wife nuts. But it's just that, like, I don't do well when you, it makes me, for whatever reason, I'm awkward. But I also know who I am. I know that's a, you know what I'm saying, that's just kind of a downfall for me. But if I can give you something, yo, that's just as big for me as a gift in return. So I'll give you everything that I have, if it means like helping you. But if you knew my father, if you knew my grandmother, if you knew the history, like I learned my history, you'd understand that I'm very natural for the many other people in my family. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how all that stuff comes full circle with my walk with MS. But hey, they
It's
just gave it a fancy name at Tyrus. They just call it an ambassador. They just gave it a fancy name, but at the end of the day, it's just you being you.
it's incredible that your life and what you have accomplished was birthed at just 12 years old with a mentality that you had then. There are people, and you know, every single day trying to figure out how to overcome. How do I get here? How do I do this? How do I work hard? And they're
Yeah.
well into adulthood trying to rewind and figure it out. But you figured it out at 12. You
Hey, T, and we figure, and we're having to figure it out now too,
mhm,
because even more, you in the business world, and you know, people's lives have been sporadically changed. Um, Man, I was talking to a gentleman who works for Bose, the the music company, and he was like, man, I don't know if I'll have a job on Monday
Wow.
because of the pandemic. And so, man, everybody is scrambling. But I also feel like there's an abundance of people, T, that once they give themselves that time and that energy, or take the time to really, like, you got to take some time to yourself, and you got to go look over your life and say, what am I good at and what am I not good at? And I think a lot of times we don't want to address the person who we see in the mirror for real,
Right.
because when you get in the mirror, bro, you got to really look at that thing that you did on your job that maybe nobody else saw, or that thing in your marriage that maybe you did that your wife didn't see, or the treatment of people when nobody's in front of you. You got to really like confront yourself and then go over the goods, the bads, and like I think a lot of people don't want to get in touch with themselves on a deeper level, because when you get in touch with yourself on a deeper level, you really find out like, oh my gosh, maybe I've been working this thing for like 10 plus years, but this actually isn't me.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? There's like a reality that comes up like, okay, I want to do this, but dang, I guess it's gonna cost some money, so maybe I shouldn't do this. I guess I'll just go back and find another job. I gotta pay the bills. It gets pushed down.
Mhm.
So I know for me, all those years from 12 up, it was about, Tyler, this is you. You want to be over here, or you want to do this, but yo, that's really not you. T, that's not who you are. You want to go party, but for whatever reason, when you go out, you don't have a good time. That's
Yeah.
not your personality. You like you trying to be, but that's not who you are. You were this person who has to have an agenda every single day, and you know how to work. Like that's what you're good at, and that's a harsh reality sometimes. T,
Yeah.
that's hard for people.
And I think that also when you have that divine appointment and that touch on your
Man,
life, you get there's some things you want to do that God just be like, nope, I got you going somewhere. I got a direction for you. It don't
hmm
even feel right.
speak on it, bro. I didn't know if we could go there. T, it's
Oh yeah,
Sunday, so I
you
didn't. You know
want
what I'm saying? I didn't know how deep you wanted. I mean, but I'm happy you said that. Is what I'm saying, because that's what it is. It's your own divine appointment, and that appointment, it can hurt. It probably real hurt a little bit, but there's also a big weight that's about to be lifted off of your shoulders, because you know who you are, but most importantly, you know whose you are. And then when you know whose you are, it's like a certain level of confidence that comes right behind that thing, and you're more willing to take some risk. So hey, take them there, T,
to see how
take them there.
about to about to start preaching because I
Right.
struggle with that even now. That okay, for God's call and purpose on my life, I know what it is. Whenever I'm not doing something that's lined up with that, it does not work. And it's so stressful and it's painful. And it's like, okay, I want to do it. It there is some good in it, but it ain't what I called you to do. I want you over here serving people, helping people. And for me, I feel my best when I'm in service, when I'm helping people. When I fall out of line with that, no matter what it is, I'm not, it's just, it's a weight, like you said, because now I'm trying to do things that I want to do under my own strength instead of doing
Man,
what he called me to do on his strength.
let me tell you something, bro. That's what I love. People, T, if people have known somebody who has MS, like, if you Google MS, it'll scare you to death. It will scare you, because you will see some, there are people who have primary progressive stages. Our man Arthur, who's in Game Changer, he's been through so much, going through I mean, there are different stages of it. And I remember like being in the hospital for real. And I was out there in California by myself. I had no friends or family members present. So I did all the medical work, all the like all the exams. I was in there by myself. And I remember though, the doctor came in and he said, Mr. Campbell, you can't play football anymore. And I literally told him, I said, it's okay, doc. When one door closes, another one's going to open. And the conversation with me and the good Lord the night before was like, the moment that you stop living to help other people is the moment this disease is going to tear you apart.
Mm.
And I was in the hospital bed. I shared a room with another gentleman who was a college professor at the local university. And I had a lot of time to myself. And he literally, I had a vivid as day. The moment you stop making sure that other people are okay is the moment you will start to have problems, and this disease will tear you apart. And I've had relapses. I've had days. That doesn't mean I'm not going to suffer from the
Right.
disease,
Yep.
but I literally think the Lord was just saying, like, it means like you won't have a heartbeat to want to live your life. That's all it means. I'm not saying it hasn't freed me up from relapses or the fatigue, the memory issues, the pain, the paralysis,
Hmm.
the learning how to walk and talk again. I've been there and I've had to go there frequently, but my heart still has a beat that says I can still love somebody. I can still try to serve for you. I can still try to give you or myself in life the best version of myself each and every day. And it's just a choice that I literally try to choose to make every day. And the best part about it is that choice is free. It don't cost you nothing to you to try to give life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't asking you to fill out a form or buy a course. It's just, it's a free choice. It really and truly is. You get to choose how you treat people who are the opposite race of you.
Oh
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? You get to choose how much work you're gonna put in today to try to supersede everybody else in the competition or the business world. You get to choose how you treat your wife, your husband,
Yep.
your kids. You get to choose that. That's your own divine free will.
Oh, absolutely. So let's go into, you got your shirt on. Let's talk a little bit about
Yeah,
real life, real talk. I know that you are on the radio. What do you
yeah,
discuss on your radio show and your program? Tell us how you got there, how you got on the radio,
yeah.
and then what it's all about.
No, no doubt. I think a lot of times we get into a mode where we can't always see the end, right? And I think I try to encourage people to understand that life is working some things out behind the scenes that you can't even see.
Oh yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? We can't see them. And like you said earlier, that's the biggest thing. That's the challenge, right? And so I'm out more. I'm trying to serve more. I don't have a lane. I just know I have a speaking gift. And so I'm going in the school systems and I'm doing that. And I'm working for the family company, our sausage business. Shout out to Greer's down there in Alabama. I'm trying to get into the ad after July the 4th. And I know you know Greer's. Um, but I'm trying to utilize this gift. And because I was an alternative school kid growing up, I'm volunteering a lot of my time in alternative schools. I've done the pharmaceuticals, I've done the corporate stuff, and now I feel like that tug to do more stuff in the community. The local sports radio station got a hold of me because they found videos of me doing stuff in the alternative school system and other school systems just around Central Texas,
Okay.
and then I started traveling the country for schools, right? And they pull me in. They say, we are a radio station for sports, but we want you to come in and do a 1 hour show. You can title it whatever you want to. We want you to just be you. And I said, okay, well, these are my guidelines. These are the things I want to talk about. Yada yada yada. Is that okay? And they said, yes. We just feel like the Central Texas, we need something positive that's not just sports driven.
Wow.
And I came up with the concept of real life, real talk. There's a man by the name of Rodney Page who's my mentor. You always got to have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Always got to have a mentor. As a man, it's like imperative that as a man, you get around other men with some wisdom, right?
Absolutely.
So it was a slogan we used in the alternative school with our teenage boys. All right, real life and real talk. We let them get everything off of their chest
Yep.
so we could build after they got all their emotion. And so my show is about real life and real talk, transparency, authenticity, and being vulnerable, most importantly. So, man, Tyrus, I've taken the opportunity to interview some people, but a lot of times, man, I'm like you. You just have a message you got to get out.
Yep.
So just because I did one show yesterday, man, I'll get a message during the week and I got to get that thing out on Saturday. So it's empowerment, it is encouragement, but it's also real life and storytelling,
Yep.
right? You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Shout out to Game Changers. It's me sharing my stories, me being vulnerable, because I know the stories. Maybe a few people know the stories, but that doesn't mean that one person who needs to hear the story, they haven't heard it yet. And I'm really just trying to reach that one person.
Okay.
So that's what my show, Real Life and Real Talk, is about. It's just 1 hour from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on a sports network, and I talk nothing that has to do with sports. So, so I can't. I listen. I'm thankful and I'm appreciative, but life will work some things out behind the scenes.
Mm.
I didn't go looking for them. They found me. and I got to take it and run with it, right, T? Got to
Oh
take
yeah,
it and run with it.
definitely putting that work in. And I believe that this is just yet another appointment to use your gift and also give you those reps that you need to.
Wow, look at you, Coach Val. Say it again, those reps. I see. Hey, Tyrus is, those of you who are listening, he is a certified game changer, all right? And he's still using the reps. I'm trying to get there. Keep it going, T.
Oh yeah,
Keep it going, baby.
putting the reps in. I see you. And I think that your appointment, while I don't know what it is, and I won't try to say what it is or speak anything, but I know that God is working something for you, that all of this stuff that you're doing, everything that you've been through is setting you up for a larger stage. And when you hit that stage, man, that one person you're looking for, is going to be millions. There's going to be millions of people that come and hear your story. And you
Hey,
just
I'm
prepared and
I'm
set up.
thank that's very kind of you, Tyrus, man. I appreciate it, bro. I'm beyond thankful. I think I don't know about you, bro, but I, I it feels great whenever we were in the circle, whenever you can get around people who are doing what you're doing, or trying to aspire to do and to be. That that has been such a big encouragement, and then you see people being successful. I see you and you're doing your thing. It makes me want to like I got to get it together. Like T got a way better microphone than I do. You know what I'm saying? Got the backdrop. I was like, but that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
It's not competition to go against, but it's like when you see people who are in your lane and have been there and you have that circle, it's like everybody got to be like, yo, let's go.
Yep.
Like it's our time too.
Yep, level
Yeah.
together, grow,
Yeah.
get stronger. Hey, when I had Joe on, he was like, "I saw you had the mic. I had to go get the setup."
Hey, it's just. Can I just call a spade a spade? That's what my grandma say. Call a spade a
Yep.
spade. It's a dang good mic, T. With the face on it and everything. Hey, let's go.
So, speaking of game changers, tell us how you came in. What made you search them out, or how did you find game changers? Talk a little bit about the process. You know what, man, I remember you in the closet putting that work in. You did what you had to do, and I was like, man, Tyler works. Just your work ethic was just huge. So how did you find game changers? What does it mean for you? And just tell us about your experience.
Straight up. I think like when I was a kid, my father used to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And so the Oilers would always lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain defense and Joe Green, like all them like historic people, like people who watch ball, they know that team. And my father always said, like Joe Green told him, another Hall of Famer, he's like, man, Earl, when the best don't meet the best, everybody gets cheated.
Ooh,
And in our closets, say, yeah, that's not for me. Tyler Campbell didn't make that up. It's something my father always utilized for us. And it's like we always think we're really good when we're practicing or when we get a gig or we just got in front of an audience, right? And I think what football and sports always taught me was like when we rolled on the film, I was never satisfied with what I saw. Um, I never really thought I was that good of a football player. Still don't think I was that good, but I was driven to try to do whatever I could from the age of 12 to get better. In this case, I had to get away from myself. I
mm,
don't care how long I've been speaking, and get around some people who like been doing it professionally, so they can scrutinize me like in the film session
yep,
and tell me what I'm doing wrong because I got to get cut to grow. A muscle, you got to break down a muscle, you got to stretch a muscle in order for it to really grow and to be
right,
fit. Most people don't realize that. Like when you're in the gym and you working out, you breaking down a muscle, making it have room to grow. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't grow as a speaker and by myself. Like people don't speak. So I couldn't lean on nobody from like some advice.
hmm,
Speaking is like one of the number one fears in the world, I think. And so who speaks?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So okay, I'm at here isolated, and I heard about game changers through like the mini advertisements, the podcast,
yeah,
it just floating around. And I said, I need to do this. I need to invest in myself to do this. And what's the worst that can come back on it? They can tell me how bad I am. All that will do is try to make me take notes and close my mouth and figure out how to be better, just like I would in sports. So um that's how I came about it with the podcast. And I'm thankful, bro. It's like we got on stage or we get on these calls and it you get cut.
Yep.
But that's how you grow.
Exactly.
Um, take it, man. You
That
take it
iron
from there.
sharpening that iron. Because I know when I got up on that stage, CJ was like, "Are you ready for these cuts since we family?"
Hey, man. I just and I think we live in a society now where like people are afraid of the no. People are afraid of
Mhm.
like so what? You know what I'm saying? People, I think we don't always know what people went through to get to where they got to, Tyrus.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the Bulls documentary. I'm learning more about like the people who you are fascinated by or you admire. Once you learn what they went through, you like, oh my gosh,
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't just arrive. Like they went through a lot of stuff. Even if we're talking about CEOs, we're talking about when I love researching grocery chains because of my field. Um, and when I learned that Sam Walton stole his idea from Meyer supermarkets in the Midwest, the first hypermarket grocery chain, and I'm learning like I'm learning all these different things about people's history. That's why I tell people embrace your past and utilize it as an opportunity to create your future. Like you got to really dig and look back over what people have gone through to appreciate where they are, and to know that you got to go through some stuff to get there.
Right.
So I'm forever grateful.
And I know ET says it a lot, and Coach K says it a lot also. When people be wanting other people's success, you don't know that process. Do you want that process? Do you want that grind? Somebody might look at you and say, "Man, this guy's resilient. He's overcoming. I want everything he's got." But it's like, do you want to mess with it?
Hey, that's why I told people like I will say this, man, because I don't like I don't talk about my Paul a lot because it's just but man, T, do you know how heartbreaking it is? Like I seen people if they didn't get an autograph from my father while we at the dinner table eating as a family, if they couldn't get their autograph when they come interrupt our little dinner at Chili's or these other places, they cursing out my dad saying he a bad person. They
Wow.
don't know my Paul. But if he said, could you just wait till after dinner with our family? I'll be happy to sign your autograph. And they cursing saying that Earl Campbell is selfish. And it's like you say you want that spotlight, man. But are you ready for that position where no matter how bad how the best you try to live your life, that people are literally going to throw trash in your face, call you out your name, try to slander you in front of your own family, knowing that you're just trying to do right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of smoke that you got to be willing to embrace. And so I saw my fall go through a lot, bro, and it takes a lot, with people who are in the spotlight that or you whenever you're striving for something,
Yeah.
the world is gonna tear you down. Just be real, call a spade, and you got to be able to handle that, and that's part of the process with the cuts.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the
And
same thing. You go
um,
ahead.
I remember listening to, and he talks about a lot. Ricky Smiley talking about
Mm-hmm.
photographs, autographs, pictures with you, and he was like, "If you come up to me respectfully and just wait, just
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
and then wait, give me some respect. I don't owe you an autograph. I
Mm-hmm.
don't owe you anything. I don't even know you, but like
Yeah.
you said, with that spotlight, people and oh man, me and Nikki
Nicky Nick.
she put a post up about everything's going on, and you just put something in my brain that made me think back
Yeah,
to that.
go with it.
And
That's
she
what we do. Go with it.
asked, should celebrities, when moments of injustice happen, do they have a requirement to speak up? And
Yeah.
my initial response was, okay, yes, they should say
Mm-hmm.
something because they have the power, they have the
Mm-hmm.
audience, and they have the pull.
They got
But
the
now,
power.
when you
Yeah.
mention, you know, I would have judged a celebrity for not saying anything. Why you not saying nothing?
Mm-hmm.
But just because that person has arrived at where they are doesn't give them any more responsibility than anybody else. It would be
Yeah.
nice if they said something because they got pull. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, might can go somewhere and say something, whereas if you went and said it might not
Say
be pull. But I
they
can't
run in a different circle. They
but
run
I
in a different
can't be
circle.
mad if he
Mm-hmm.
choose to live his life doing what he do and don't say anything.
And I just, and for me, it's like, I don't know, we saying the same thing. I got to make sure that me personally, bro, I'm doing everything that I can
Mm-hmm.
to put my place and my mark towards the injustice. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I got my kids. My kids don't know MJ. You know, they know they pops a little bit, but at the end of the day, they looking at dad like, Daddy, what you doing about all of this? So my allegiance is to this family. And so I got a speaking gift, and I have the capability to research and to pull and to press a point. So we also, I feel like you got to also be strategic in what you do, because if
Exactly.
you got the celebrity and you got it, but you don't understand what the outcry, what we're looking for as a people right now, or whatever specific topic you're talking about, then you're gonna make it even worse.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I'm just, and because you have that platform, you about to get beat over the head even more.
Exactly.
You know, so those little things, bro. I saw that out my father. You know, I seen it. Like I seen how the media. There's a lot of underlying things that I did learn as a child, and man, you just, as you get older, bro, the messages of your grandparents, them your aunties, your uncles, and now you got kids, and man, they come out in their own way. But I'm like you, man. I seen what it's like celebrity, and I seen you, man. No, people can come after you. I
Yeah.
seen them come after my paw. You know, I've seen that ever since I was a kid. So, hey, it's a tough road. Are you ready to live it?
Yep.
Do you really want this?
Yep. He also says all the time, everybody wants a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
Man, quote that. Yo, y'all better. Hey, T, you seen me, bro. I take a pen. I wrote down your quote earlier about love. So, man, continue to drop the gems on them, baby.
So for you, Tyler, what's next? What where are you taking your speaking? What are you
Yeah,
seeking to do? What's next for you?
I think while we were going through game changers, T, I'm just now figuring out my XYZ.
Okay.
Like I've been speaking in so many different. I've been chasing so many different rabbits.
Mm,
Like I'll never stop doing work in schools.
right.
Um, it just may not have to be the headway of how I choose to put myself at the forefront. I'll
Mm,
never stop working with churches. I'll never stop working with kids. That's always going to be a part of what I do. But again, in the business of speaking, I had to dive in deep. I've been living with MS for like, what am I? I'm 33 now. I've been living with MS for 12 years. So I've been living with this disease for a long time. I'm qualified to talk about it because
yep.
I know about it. The other thing that I'm just now discovering is that I've been selling meat for 11 years of my life, or excuse me, 10 years of my life. I grew up around meat. I grew up around learning the raw material market. You know, that's kind of been me. Um, and I love sales. I learned sales the hard way. um, and so I now have understood that a passion of mine is what? Is sales. Why, T? Because I value relationships. And so my whole thing is, because I've been through the adversity, I can walk that walk and I can talk
Yep.
to you about that. But I also, because I live in sales and I work in sales and I've been given the hardest opportunity in sales, for me, I help organizations and sales teams overthrow adversity. You know,
Okay.
that's what I do. My biggest thing is to help people retain clients and gain new ones. When
Gotcha.
I got into the meat business, T, I started out at $100 a week with a business management degree. I was a graduate with a graduate in business management, and I started out making $100 a week. And it was the biggest blessing. Again, I was cool with it because it wasn't about the money. It was about me getting some knowledge,
Yep.
as it was for everything else since I was 12. I'm cool with working for it. So I get into the meat business, and my dad has conquered territories with Earl Campbell meat products. Like,
Mm,
he's there. We've done Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arizona. And for me, it's like, how do I make an impact? If you want to make an impact at your job, what do you need to do? Solve a problem.
yep.
It's
Solve a
very
problem.
simple. Make yourself more valuable than your other counterpart by solving a problem each and every day. They'll never get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? And so I saw the problem. I was like, okay, I need to do sales outside the state. Oh,
Right.
Tyler, we've never sold hot links out here. We never whatever. Since you said can't, I say I can. And I started getting good at cold calls.
Mm,
Everybody was doing the emails, T. Everybody doing an email, telling your life story in an email, bruh. People can't feel you or see you in your words through an email.
exactly.
But if you get that phone call, if you leave that message, if they get the passion for your voice, if you check the credentials and you have an elevator speech, which is what I tell a lot of people, go ahead and get your elevator speech. Can you do something in 15 to 30 seconds to cause people's interest? I learned that in speech class.
Yep.
Okay. And then when you come, don't come try to selling yourself or selling the product. Come to serve for them. Look at what they need as an organization and see if you can solve a problem for them. And
Right.
that's kind of what started to matriculate for me. And I started growing the sales outside the state of Texas. I started at $100 a week because I worked in the factory. A lot of times in sales, they try to get to the sale, but they don't understand the process of what it takes for you to have a product to
Right.
sell. And so for me, I worked the highs and ties. I worked the machines. I stuffed sausages. The people and the relationships. I literally would watch meat all day long, and people would tell me about meat. So when it came for me to sell, I sold with the passion because I remember what it looked like to work in 40 and 30-degree weather, stuffing sausages. I remember all those people who put their heart and their soul just to put the 3 to 4 kids through for school. And I carried that with me, which was my passion. And all I did was literally Google grocery chains across the United States of America on Wikipedia. And I started selling sausages in places that we weren't.
Yep.
Cold calling, just cold calling. No secret, just having a passion for something, knowing the people in our organization who did the work, understanding the process so I don't overpromise and underdeliver in terms of shelf space and other things, and valuing people's relationships. I call people to try to get them to forget what we were talking about. I wanted you to be so enamored with me as a salesperson to blow your mind in 30 seconds to get you intrigued so that we could forget what I was selling, so that you would give me a chance on a deeper level to get that shelf space. That was my goal. I wanted to learn everything about your family, your kids, sending the postcards in the mail, learning everything about your family in our time frame so that I could earn that sale and solve whatever problems you had.
Yep. Because
It's relationships, and I feel like the way we go in our country, more and less people don't know how to dialogue amongst each other. We know how to do this, but we don't know how to conversate. We don't know how to have the phone calls. And it's like literally taking the things that the foundation was built off of as human beings. We're talkers, we communicate. That's why when you throw people in isolation in jail cells, they go nuts. Why? Because we are cognitively built to communicate. And it's about bringing back the communication that has been taken away, especially for the younger demographic. So T, I started building sales. Our company is in the top 10 in smoked sausage sales nationally. We sell over 15 million pounds of sausage a year. Like it was a big deal for me to be 25 years old. I walked into Publix supermarkets down there in Florida and I sold product to Publix supermarkets. That had never been done in our company's history for Publix. It's one of the best run grocery chains in America.
yeah.
But also the downfall of sales was that's why I say I didn't understand that I could oversell. I didn't understand that the trucks it was going to be too hard to get the routes together, and I lost that business. So that's why I'm quick to tell people what I'm good at, where I failed at, and bringing it back down to the communication. And I think the sales piece of business is something that's going to be even harder. It's got to come back in a big way, T, because we on Zoom calls. We're
Yeah.
not going to get the in-person interview anymore. So you can't shake somebody's hand and give them a hug to tell them why you should get this job. You got to be on point. And
Yep.
you got to give them emotion and passion and the resiliency in a Zoom call with less window with a
It's,
total stranger.
yep.
So you're gonna have to learn to communicate some way, shape, or form. I get you don't like people, but in sales, it's about relationships. You could have all the book smarts in the world, but if you can't remember this dude's name, maybe what sports team he loves, or how many kids he has, or she has, or what their business model is, if you can't start a conversation, it's gonna be tough for you to get that job, T.
Oh yeah. Yeah. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And then you got to solve the problem.
Hold on. Say it again. No, like, and trust.
Know, like, and trust. People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
So that's my lane, T. That's kind of my crossover, and that's how I got into the saleship because that's what I do on a regular basis. I'm very passionate about meat. I love my father started a entrepreneurial business. I saw him work hard to start this, and I'm not gonna ever be an executive. I don't want that title. I like to be in sales. Um, I like people. You stick me behind a desk, it's over. I got to get out there in the territory.
Yeah.
Um, and I got to do that. That's what makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I talked about it.
And
Yep.
that's people chase money so much, money and title and position, and lose happiness along the way. One day they wake up
See
and realize that, hey, I'm not even happy. So what's going on?
what's going on, and that's just be real with yourself. Just be. That's why I tell people, give yourself some time and attention for real. Like, get to know you first.
Hmm.
Really get to know you, and get through your pain, whatever you have to get through to get to the real core of you. Address those things, and then you'll start to walk in circles or walk in avenues, and neglect all the distractions that are there.
Exactly.
You really got to start here. If you really want to be, you got to start there.
And it's okay to try something and realize
Say that.
this thing ain't for me, because a lot of
Say
times
say that,
people,
T.
they our sense of failure is different. If I try something, I don't like it, and I quit, I fail. No, you did something and it's not you, and it's okay. Don't get stuck in doing something just because you want to save face. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what people think about you. You got to be whole first, a whole you, before you can be anything to anybody else.
Let's
So
go, T.
even if you try something and it doesn't work out, or you just don't like it, hey, you tried it. You Thomas Edison said, when they
How
asked him
many times?
a
How many
thousand,
times did he fail? How many times? Say it to him. Say
and
it to him, T.
said that, you know what? I just figured out 1,000 ways not to do it. He
Tell
didn't
him.
quit. He
He didn't
kept
quit.
going. He had a mission. He had something that he knew he wanted to do and complete. It didn't matter how many times it didn't work. Only that one time. It just matters that one time.
Hey man, just one. Just one. Hey, what is it? They say it takes only one good idea.
Just one.
It's just one good idea. I think how many Steve Jobs got fired from his own company. Them brothers fired him.
Yep. And had one idea. And they said, just right. Hey, you should keep a most successful people, especially the billionaires, they all say you should keep a notepad with you. And every time you think about something, write it down. Because you never know when the next idea is going to be the one that blow up.
Tell him David Shans. Tell him David Shans. Yep. Keep it with you. But it just takes one. And the beautiful thing is it's your one, meaning that you have the idea inside of you. You didn't look elsewhere. You didn't try to copycat your brother, your sister. It was you. It was your wholeness that brought forth the idea that changes your life, your family's life for generations to come. See, like it's really that simple, and I mean it for generations. My father was the first one to go to college in his family, and so it's crazy because now all of us as cousins, we all went to college. See, a lot of us, but that was never there beforehand. Yo, that one good idea, that one thing that you discover for yourself, it literally is bigger than you. You change generations.
Yep. Because you showed something that hasn't been there before. And
Man,
who, let me think about, can't even bring his
take
name up in my head.
take your time up. Take your time up, brother. It's a lot going on up there, T. You got a lot going on up there.
Les Brown said, once you expand your thinking, once your mind, it can never go back. So, and I'm gonna tell you
Mhm.
somebody else. It was I feel like I said this, like I'm having deja vu or something, but it was Lil Wayne. Lil
Okay.
Wayne was doing an interview on Drink Champs, and
Hmm.
they asked him about, okay, how did you end up in Miami? He said when they were filming a video, they went to Miami. They were on the beaches. They would ride ATVs on the beaches, just everything about Miami life. He said, I'm from New Orleans. I ain't never seen nothing
Never
like
seen
that.
it. I knew that's what you
And he
meant.
said, from that day on, I never left Miami. So when you
Hey,
expands
Mm-hmm.
your mind when you see something different. When something is introduced to you that's outside of your norm, you can never go back.
It's exposure, T.
Exposure. That's the word.
It's exposure.
And
I
when
mean, that's huge. Keep going.
and when
Keep
I'm
going.
mentoring young kids in the middle schools,
Yeah.
it's they don't have that example. And I say this all the time because it really stuck with me when I was telling these kids, you could do this, you could do that, you could be this. And the kid was like, that's not my reality at home. Don't nobody I know
Mm-hmm.
doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get the idea and they see that wealthy person or that successful person, because they're all about money. But when they
Yeah.
see that one
Yeah.
percenter in life
Yeah, man.
around them, it changes. It, it
I love it,
it
T.
really changes their whole perspective. Now they can believe that, there is more than the block. There is
Yeah.
more than just welfare, Section 8 food stamps. There's
Yeah, man.
more. There's more than the
It's
concrete jungle. There's more than the country. Because when I was growing
man.
up,
I tell them about the tell them about the country. Hey, because my family from backwoods, bro. So my family from the county that's they just got. It's been a dry county. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all still had dry counties down in Alabama. We had some dry counties. You know what I'm saying? Country. You know what I'm saying? We just talking country. And so keep going what you said because I vibe with that. I vibe with that. Go ahead.
so from the country growing up, when you don't have nothing, no,
Mhm.
not even a street light, no Walmart, no McDonald's, nothing like that. You got to drive and travel to get it. No opportunity. You know how many people I know in my family too, great in sports, no recruiting. You too deep in the South.
Mhm. You too deep.
You too deep.
Mhm.
Coach is not really helping you because
Mhm.
then now you're talking about South Alabama, you're talking about the race thing.
Yeah.
So we only gonna take you so far before we help you.
Hey,
And it's
I
like it's
hear you,
so much
bro.
building on you. You know how many people are just sitting around. Like I have one guy, shout out to Nick, and then shout out to my cousin Joe, who they're working in the financial industry now, selling investment, finances, life insurance. People weren't talking about that stuff when I was growing up. They were talking about investing. I ain't never heard one of my cousin married a guy, his dad owned a trailer park. I before that I never heard of people owning investment property.
Never before, huh? I tell
Never.
you.
And it's just
Yeah.
perspective. And when you come out, I had to leave home via the military to get an understanding like, man, it's more to life than working a job 12 hours a day and then going home and going to sleep. Now
And wake up, do it all over again.
I
Hmm.
stand on the shoulders of my grandparents and my uncles and my aunts and everybody, my mom, my dad, who worked hard to give us that different life. But shoot, they weren't able to give us that legacy. They were able to give us that work ethic.
Work ethic.
I
Yeah.
can't call no relative and they call a bank for me and make something move. I can't call somebody and be like, hey, I know this investment deal. You got 300,000 to drop on it. No
Hmm.
fault to them. But now that you and I have made it out and we're able to build and grow and see, now everybody else we share in this podcast with can say, hey, those guys, we knew them. We grew up with them. We see the difference.
Beautiful. See. That's beautiful, man. But T, if that don't get you up out the bed in the morning, bro, I my pa used to tell me all the time. He was just like, I just didn't want to work the rose fields for the rest of my life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like because he said like his pa died on him when he was 7. He had 10 other brothers and sisters raised by a single mama. You know what I'm saying? Holding the top of a roof, 3-bedroom shack. Like, poverty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know, his auntie, her husband had died, and her and the kids moved in with them. So they had 18 people in there at one point in time.
Wow.
And it's just like my father just said, like, people didn't talk about college. That wasn't you work and you stay behind to help put food on. Y'all put all your pennies, you put all the money together and we stay, you know what I'm saying? You work, continue to work, and you just stay around and in the country. And so it was like the first time my Paul said he stepped foot on a college campus, it was like I didn't know nothing like this was even out here.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like didn't even know, like you just don't know, but then once you know,
Once you know,
man,
you can never
once you
go.
know, bro, that's what brings it all together, T. And you speaking real talk, man. Once you know.
And that's
Wow, T.
That's the message for those who are still seeking, that are looking,
Mm-hmm.
that are wanting. It's not too late. It's never too late to get on and start moving forward with your dream, with your
That's right.
passion. Because we're talking about now just, hey, when you're moving in your lane, your gift, your passion, you're doing what you're called to do, there are people out there that will hear your voice. Everybody not going to hear my voice. Everybody not going to hear Tyler's voice.
Mm-mm.
Have our own people who are going to hear us, but you got your sheep out there too. So if you're not operating in your gift and doing what you called to do, somebody's not getting that need met. It's up to you.
Man.
How many kids are out there that just need a positive, one positive influence? Just one. If you interview prisoners, a lot of them tell you that most of them will tell you they never had one,
They never had one more.
just one person to tell them something different. Just
Yeah,
one.
T.
Who can you save by just saying one thing positive? Who can you
And
give
that's
energy to,
huge.
give a new life to? And then that person can rebuild and start a new legacy.
And T, I want people to know, like with that dream that you were talking about, everybody's always, your mind is always blocked because you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so much work. When you figure out your thing, it doesn't even feel like work. Like
Exactly.
I mean, you're going to be doing a lot, and to whom much is given, much is required. We know that, but it's like it doesn't even feel like that though. It doesn't feel like going to that job where you know you don't want to be there and you can't utilize your gift and you're stuck and you're bottled up. But it's because you're not where you're supposed to be, or you're not in the right field. Better yet, of what you're supposed to be doing. So you're bottled. It's not going to be the work. You're going to be more free. You're going to be more open. You're going to have more clarity, and there's a resurgence of energy that comes from it. And I say that because, yo, I have MS. One of the biggest things with MS is constant fatigue. Constant fatigue. Hard to get out of bed.
Ooh.
This thing, this propels me and keeps me rolling. I can't explain it. I shouldn't be. But I think that's that thing you get when you are doing with your life what you're supposed to be doing. And
Absolutely.
that's what you're talking about, T.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about.
That's that his grace and mercy brought me.
Oh, hey, T, don't make them go back to the Baptist church. Don't get that old lady singing grace and mercy. Hey, we will never get out on time.
Not on time.
Hey, and don't think you can put that one up and go out the back of the church. You're going to sing and hear this grace and mercy. You hear me?
Mercy. This moment, because of you.
Hey, bought me through.
Yep.
Bought me through.
Every time.
Yeah, man.
When you go to the doctor, you ain't supposed to be doing as well as you're doing. Oh, I don't know what's going on. You're doing much better than what you're supposed to. People look at you. I don't know how Tyler does it, how he moved. What he got this condition. Why isn't he just laying down and giving up on life? Because he is living in his purpose. And when you live in your purpose, his strength carries you. And it's sufficient.
All glory to him. All glory to him. Yes, sir.
Well, Tyler, we are over our 1 hour mark.
Oh, I'm sorry, my brother.
No, it ain't on you. I would love to keep it going, but I want to be respectful of your time and everybody else's. Tyler, give us some parting words. What would you like the people to know as we get ready to sign off?
Yeah, man. Really quickly. It's what we talked about. It's the life that we live is not about ourselves. And I mean that. I think a lot of the stuff with the pandemic, a lot of the racial inequality, I feel like it really stems from a model of selfishness. And that I think the world is turning, and it is teaching us that you have to learn to be selfless. You have to wear the mask not to protect yourself, it's to protect other people that you are around, because you don't know what they have. The model of racism and inequality, it's for us to take a look outside of ourselves and see people's outcries of color and what we have been through. So you're forced to not look at yourself and say, I don't have a problem. You're forced to see other people's perspective, close your mouth, and be selfless for a second. But take your passion, you'll turn it into your profession so you can be a blessing. Take your passion, turn it into your profession so that you can be a blessing. Have a heart to serve, an ear to listen, and a heart to serve. Not an ear to hear, an ear to listen, and a heart to serve.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tyler, I appreciate you for coming on tonight. I thank you. You have shared and dropped just some wonderful gems with us. Your story of overcoming adversity really touched me because man, at such a young age, you knew you already figured it out that it's about the process. I did a
Yes, sir.
sermon a couple of years ago, and I titled it "Pain Through the Process."
Ooh, I like that, yo.
That
Ooh.
going to be pain through your process, but
Yes, it
love
is.
that process and just keep moving, and
Mhm.
everything else will be added to you. So, Tyler, thank you. Salute to you. Everything that you're doing is amazing. I appreciate you for joining us tonight. And everybody that listened in, thank you again for joining the
Mhm.
empowerment platform where our goal is to simply empower you to meet your goals and be there for you. Thank you guys and see you next week.
Love you, brother. Take care.